How's it going, everyone? I'm Honan,
I'm Oliver.
and yes, this is still the K-pop podcast.
We're back.
We're back. I was very busy teaching children how to play Green Day and Offspring, and just Ed Sheeran, Perfect, and
Hey, you had the one drummer girl doing Dreamcatcher.
yes, there were two K-pop performances. There was she did like a blast beat version of Because, which was released by Dreamcatcher. But then another student did "Playing with Fire" from Blackpink, and at the end he threw finger hearts after he finished his
I mean,
performance.
that's hilarious. But like, why would you pick the worst Blackpink song to do? Come on, bro.
So I filmed him and uploaded Chad up to Instagram as his name.
His name's Chad. Chad throwing up the finger hearts. Hell yeah, Chad. Let's get it.
Okay. What are we have like so many news?
So yeah, a lot has happened.
Yes.
You know. Do you want? Should we start with the oldest stuff?
Yeah,
or
start with
the newest?
oldest to newest. I
Okay,
guess.
so I guess the oldest thing is going to be the, as it always is, the 50-50 stuff.
Yes, the endless arc of 50/50.
Yeah, so it's kind of topical because right now, or very recently, Kina was representing 50-50 at the Billboard Music Awards.
Which was like
Going
all online this year?
Yeah,
or...
but she went to some kind of party or something about it, and was basically there as their representative. And it emerged, obviously, we mentioned this last time, that she had withdrawn from the lawsuit and returned to the company. And now Attract's plan is to reform, kind of what you were saying earlier, that it was going to be like a kind of similar to how Brave Girls got kind of rebranded within a different team. They're going to add 3 new members at some point and kind of carry on from there with Kina as the sole.
Because I feel like the best talent, not to take anything away from Kina, but vocally, like the really tonal like sound of what you're hearing when you hear Cupid is gone.
Yes,
we lost like kind of the 2 members that truly
the 2 members who
sing
did
that
the twin
song.
version and stuff. Yeah. So it's a bit of a mess, and Dispatch obviously leaked the texts that she sent to the other members, and it kind of transpired that the members themselves hadn't been present at like any of the meetings and stuff, which is so insane to think about. Like the company was having all of these messages and the meetings and things that between, and they weren't involved. And basically, Kina sent this message. I'll read verbatim what she said. She's like, "We've faithfully listened and followed the discretion of adults, whether we're present at the first round of negotiations. We know that Attract is able to manipulate the media as they want, but I'm afraid if we don't take part in them, then our image as the traitor idols will be solidified. My uncertainty is that because of the fact that I don't understand why we're avoiding negotiating without even listening to the other side, especially after our injunction has been dismissed." She said that the members never met in person to talk about this. They never had the opportunity to really talk about what they really thought. She wants to take part in negotiations. She will listen to what Attract says. She's skeptical about what the givers and the lawyers have been saying because they've ignored their wishes. They've left the members out of proceedings. She believes that they should have been present at every meeting. It's our dream and our life. I'll tell you that we will be the ones who listen, who voice our objections, and who make the decisions. So basically, it kind of confirms what I was thinking before, which is just that Ansung-il and the givers were just manipulating them from the start and had been taking this thing to the point that they were making them file for this injunction and everything without ever even having the members be present or letting Attract talk to the members or even letting the members talk to each other in person, which is like just insane to think about.
That's like the kind of stuff a cult does when they're trying to brainwash you.
Yeah, it's like textbook kind of like we know what's best for you. We're older, just listen to us kind of deal. And she was basically saying, as time went on and the news about like Ansung-il having falsified his credentials and everything like that and forged the signature and stuff, and all of this was coming out, that they were beginning to realize, oh, hold on, maybe they're not as trustworthy as we thought, and maybe that they weren't doing stuff in our best interests. But clearly there was still some discord between what the members and what they thought was best. And Kina basically said we were maybe looking for too much because we were challenging stuff that's long been accepted as standard, as normal. And it's that thing where the situation that that Attract had them in wasn't great, like the living conditions and not giving the settlement and things like that, and the dietary requirements and stuff. All of that's not good. We can all
Yeah.
agree on that. But whether we like it or not, it is just kind of common. It is the
It's
standard.
happened with so many groups and so many.
Yeah,
Not to say that it should continue happening. I guess so there's nothing wrong with like
yeah,
challenging some of that. I feel like the diet thing. I'm always okay with everyone challenging. I feel like that
yeah,
for
for sure.
sure should always be challenged, kind of in K-pop.
Yeah, when it comes to the living stuff, it's like, well, I mean,
Yeah, because they're
for
not like a
these have limited
massive
resources,
company.
yeah, that they can only do so much.
Yeah.
And yes, we know that Attract's business practices were shady, and what the company were doing to try and pay off their existing debts and stuff was obviously also not great. But I mean, debts have to be paid, so
They're not the big three labels, so they had
yeah, yeah,
certain conditions of how things were starting, which I think a lot of that stuff was going to disappear because of how successful Cupid was, and instead now they've kind of botched that whole thing. It's like,
yeah. So yeah, and now it's just a kind of, well, best of luck to Kina kind of thing. And I hope that she can live out her dream and hopefully live in comfort, and not have to endure the stuff that she obviously took issue with the company as it was to begin with. And then it just kind of remains to be seen what the other three members
You
will
think the
do.
other members are just blackballed from the industry, probably?
Yeah, I don't see a way for them to. And I think because Kino is now representing the 50/50 brand abroad, I don't think there's going to be room for the other three. I don't think the Western like bigwigs give a shit
Yeah, well,
about.
I don't think anyone kind of knew individual members in the West. Like
Right.
they.
It doesn't matter to them. It's just whose brand is attached to the song, right? That's all that
Mhm.
matters. So yeah, I imagine the other three are just going to kind of fade away. I do hope that they get some justice, whether in some settlement or something that can make them feel like, that they got something from it. And obviously, we can hope that uh, like living conditions and things like that will continue to get better for rookie groups and for everyone. Um, but yeah, I'm hesitant to say that the book is closed on this, because I'm sure that there will be some other developments in the
There'll be
future.
like some sort of like interview the other three do probably or something, you know.
Yeah,
But I just feel like they're kind of done in the industry at that point, you know.
yeah, I think
It's
so.
which is sad because they're really talented. Like, it's sad to see like because especially Aran, is that her name? Aran, right? Had like kind of that voice that really stuck out when you're listening
Yeah,
to their music, and it's kind of sad that she probably will have zero opportunity in the Korean music industry because of all this.
yeah. If she wants to stay in the industry, maybe there's something they can do where they can do, like they can sing or whatever as an alias and do work like that, and just be singers, sing OSTs and stuff, and just not be in the public eye, and maybe
Yeah,
still
but obviously
get,
they were trying to be idols, you know, like
yeah. Um, so it sucks, but I mean, and at the end of the day, they made the choice, and it feels like those three at least are really sticking with that choice, even though they may have been kind of baited into taking it. It does feel like they are still committed behind it. So
yeah, and I don't foresee anything good coming from them sticking behind that decision,
no,
especially in that way. That's why I feel like in the global K-pop community, I feel like people are maybe a lot more forgiving of like the situation because they don't see it as like a traitorous thing
yeah,
to attract.
sure.
But I feel like in Korea, those three are just going to be viewed as kind of like traitors to their original company
Yeah,
that built them, kind of
yeah,
thing, like a
that's,
no
that's
loyalty
exactly how
kind
it
of
is.
viewpoint on
Yeah,
it or something, you know. And I feel like they're not going to be able to get rid of that image
yeah,
for
yeah, and,
themselves.
and that's what Kina was afraid of, and it seems like but by and large, the people have been quite welcoming to Kina. Like they're not holding anything against her
Yeah,
really. So that's something.
it's so unfortunate because the best outcome, I mean, of course, best outcome is if everyone kind of got something good out of it or something, you know. Except the givers, they can go die on a hill or something.
Right.
But if the members like Kina all kind of together were just like, yo, we kind of like just got bought into something like that we didn't really fully understand, didn't agree with, it all kind of did what Kina did, and then just Attrax was like, okay, yeah, like let's figure this out. But
I'm
now
sure there
Attrax
was
seems to have like a closed door on the other three completely.
I'm sure there was a world where they could have, where the members could have come to Attract and said, okay, listen, let's go on as before, but let's nail out these kind of terms where you don't control our diet, and we can live in a room that's fitting for us, and we can have our money settlement paid properly and all of that, and the tribe probably would have agreed.
The saddest part is because of the popularity at Cupid and everything. I think without any legal things happening, like any sort of stuff with the givers or anything like that, I think the members could have probably just gone to the company because of the popularity of the song and just been like, yo, we want to do this diet thing, this or whatever, like this song's huge, you need us to go promote it and everything, and we're like gonna take a hard stance on it or whatever. But and I feel like privately it could have been resolved that way or something, but now when it's like such a publicly legal scandal,
I think in part it's a cultural thing. It's like you just don't do that here. You don't challenge what your senior wants, and I imagine the situation is like the members would complain about the situation to their parents, and their parents would be like, my kid's having such a hard time, I want to help them, and I'm going to call up my good old buddy from the givers who really cares about them and see what he can do, and it just kind of spiraled from there.
I really questioned some of the parents' intentions.
I
feel like a good parent who just cares about the success of their own child would see through a lot of kind of the bowl in this situation that was going on with the givers, especially.
With hope, right?
Yeah, rather than just being like really like, oh yeah, I totally trust you to handle everything for them or whatever.
It's tough, isn't it? But it's like that thing where you just have that kind of smiling older experienced guy who pretends to have all these good credentials and stuff, who's like, oh yeah, the girls are, who obviously the parents would have been not expecting their kids to have a breakout so quickly, right? They were expecting them to have a hardship for a long time. I don't think any parent has unrealistic expectations of their kid when they're like a rookie idol from a small company.
Yeah.
And then they like, they could be getting all this money, blah blah blah. Like we have this deal with Warner, blah blah blah, and that money talks, and then the kind of the fact that the Attract CEO was so kind of withdrawn from them, whereas Ansingil was so forward with parents and taking it to dinner and stuff. Like
so much of this is just like the Attract CEO being not good at communication, basically.
Being crap at his job.
Yeah, being bad at his job is like a big culprit of how so much of this occurred in the first place.
Yeah,
sure. I don't know why this man wants that job so much when he's so bad at it, but it's like that's so much of this could have been avoided by him just having even 2% charisma added to
I mean, I get it. It's like you want to start a K-pop company and then you just want to hire people who'll do all the hard stuff for you.
You just want to throw money at it
and do that. I get it, but unfortunately, you got to show a bit more moxie.
You kind of realize how charismatic certain big three K-pop leaders are, like
charismatic
JYP and
shrewd, right?
Yeah,
like they know they know when to cut something, or who to approach. Like
this would never have happened at like JYP or something. If someone tried doing this to JYP.
Yeah, I mean it's true, isn't it? That's part of the reason why big companies got big, isn't it? Because like JYP obviously didn't start out as a big company, like it got big.
Yeah.
And because he made mistakes for sure, but he was also able to know who to approach, what to say, and how to
You've
manage things.
seen with him personally, artists who aren't on his company anymore still are very friendly with him. You've seen with
Especially
Sung
Wonder
Mi
Girls. Yeah,
and yeah, and I saw recently there was another artist of his, I forget who, but people who have left his company, it seems for a long time, still have very good relationships with him.
yeah, for sure. It's obviously not. We're not going to just only sing the praises of JYP, even
No,
if
of
he did
course,
just,
there's been bad.
even
No,
if even if he did just drop one of the bangers of the year in his new song.
of course, there's always the GOT7 thing is a big thing with people,
Yeah,
and some of that I though when you look at Stray Kids or something on his label, they're a very like self-sufficient group,
yeah.
and you notice it's less of that with the girl groups at JYP. He seems more like hands-on controlling in that sense.
I guess he used to be. He's not the CEO anymore, and he
Yeah, yeah.
hasn't been.
I guess what I mean by that is he seems to influence the direction of those groups a lot more. ITZY
Yeah,
or Twice or
I think
something, and just kind of
because
steps back from Stray Kids. It almost seems like
yeah,
to let
because
the
Stray Kids the next area are self-producing, right? So
yeah.
they will make a song, and he will say, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And he'll give feedback, but it's not the same. Whereas he's either straight up composing or he's heavily involved in like
I
the
feel like he
concept.
tried the same thing with GOT7 and it just didn't work out. Because the
Yeah,
JB writer at GOT7, or is that his,
yeah,
was
they
kind of
did
like a
have
writer, kind of like a main part of their
there
creation.
was some involvement and stuff, and you could with God Seven it's complicated. Like he did really, I think he really believed a lot in especially in JB at the start, and then um it things kind of started to fall off. But I think that's because the members themselves had differences on where they wanted to go, like the direction they wanted to go and what they expected. And generally, I think the people's blame should be focused more at the particular division that was managing Got Seven rather
Yeah,
than
than
at
JYP
JYP himself.
himself. Because look at the
Um,
amount of artists he has on his company at that point. Too. It's like you're spread pretty thin when you have like so many things to promote. But
yeah, and when you want to split each, yeah, you're not going to have. It's always it's the thing is every company is always made by its people, and sometimes you just don't get good people. Like
yeah, sometimes
it's.
something isn't managed as well as another part of your
I
company.
mean, Taman was talking about this recently, actually, saying that SM has a super high turnover rate in staff because the pay is not good, and he said that a lot of people join and they don't see a future for
They don't see
themselves.
growth at all from
Yeah,
their job
even though the
opportunity. Yeah.
even though the company is big and whatever, and revenues are high, if not profits aren't high, but
That's when a company is that
it's
big, they could just
they
keep
just
spinning.
because
You know,
any
they don't need.
because people will see, oh, I want a job opening at SM, hell
Yeah,
yeah,
and there's an
and that.
endless supply of that happening. Like,
But as a result, it means you don't have people who have the time to shape their vision and stuff. And you see with SM, you get very varied consistency between like concept images and then music videos and
I
like
guess that's why
whether things match and stuff. Like
I'm always impressed by Red Velvet because there always seems to be the Red Velvet like stamp.
the vibe, yeah.
Yeah,
It makes
like
me
no
think
matter
maybe
what, like
they've had some staff who've stayed with them for a long time
yeah.
and stuff like that. But even then, there were criticisms that the initial that the music video for Chill Kill didn't match the concept pictures,
Yeah,
like
but
these
that
incredible like style
song
pictures.
was a Red Velvet song. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like when it came out, I was like, this is Red Velvet. You know what I mean? Like they've never, for me, lost that kind of sound of theirs, where they come
yeah.
out and it's like, oh, that this is not Red Velvet
No,
anything or whatever.
I think musically it's different. It's more just about the image, isn't it? The
Yeah,
promotion.
which I didn't mind. I kind of understood what they were going for there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a counter effect of like how the chorus lyrics and like cheerfulness are kind of counter to how the video has this like dark, dreary
Yeah.
vibe. But then they're also kind of doing kind of a hopeful concept thing too. It almost seems like they're like kind of burning away
Hmm.
their sorrow and past and kind of things when you see they burn down the house and everything at the end and stuff. I mean, that's kind of what I got out of it, but I could see how people thought they were going to get like a really psycho type of concept maybe or something, or like Bad Boy.
I think they were expecting kind of like historical vintage kind of vibe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, I think you can see the impact when you have like a creative direction and a team that's the same and stable throughout, and they can kind of have like a long-term project or something plan, or they have like consistency between the releases and stuff, like with New Jeans, for example, or even with like a smaller group like
Because New Jeans is
Kingdom.
overseen by that one creative director, right?
Yeah. And you could tell when she was at SM, there seemed to be like cohesion and stuff between the groups and whatnot. So, yeah. I don't know how we ended up here.
No, yeah, sorry. Let's continue on news topics. Well, it made sense because we were kind of connected to how a good, properly run like CEO could avoid this situation, and I feel like a track CEO is a lot to blame for many of what occurred here. Like,
for sure, right? Just poor management. I guess
his awkwardness kind of destroyed the whole situation in a sense.
Being very socially inept and not a great businessman. But we can look at SM as a good example of what to do, right? Because there's been this recent controversy with Rise, in particular, remember Sunghan, who was revealed to have been basically a teenage boy a bit too publicly, in that he was off smoking and kissing girls and doing all kinds of stuff like that, and generally kind of being a bit just not very idly, I guess. Is the
he's doing his inner Lucas, you mean, like recently?
A little bit, yeah. And he, he was talking kind of inappropriately about people and stuff, just in a situation that he probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah, of course.
And all of these things kind of piled up, and criticism got really, really high, to the point that today SM announced that he is going on an indefinite hiatus, and Rise will continue as a 6-member group, which obviously is not a great start.
Probably means he's not coming back.
Yes, exactly. It's the thing. He hasn't left the company, but he has in effect left the team. It's a similar deal to Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas has just been on like one of those.
Yeah,
I'm in the company, but I'm never coming back to NCT kind of thing.
Yeah, so like maybe we'll see him again at some point, but not for now. I think the reaction, it's the thing. It's they can be that cutthroat about something.
Yeah,
because it's like ultimately the infractions, as they were all individually pretty minor, but it's when that much negative publicity is directed towards your group, they realize that the thing to do is just to cut it.
Even as a teenager, I must say, if you decide to become an idol, you have a responsibility.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like if it's your own fault if you go around doing that and you're an idol, you get caught and you're done, like, or whatever.
Yeah,
because there's even an unrealistic standard, obviously, they're expected to live up to, but especially at that young of an age, like,
even if it's older stuff, like, you got to scrub your as much as you can. You got to scrub your past, right? Like, people will always find stuff, but you've got to do your best. And it was
fair,
just,
there's plenty of people his age group that become idols and they don't have those issues or whatever.
Right, so right. Like, yeah, it's each individual thing is not a big deal, but when you're supposed to be a role model, blah blah blah, like it's tough, and I think a smaller company probably wouldn't have cut him.
No, but for sure, yeah.
It's I think it's just it's
at
a good
SM
example.
You have an extra level of unrealistic standard to live up to.
Right. Like, yeah, you're an SM idol and you're supposed to really uphold something, right?
You can't be Heechul anymore. Heechul used to, like, didn't he punch other members of Super Junior or something?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can look at the stuff
he went clubbing in like nightclubs.
Why any of them have survived as long as they have.
That man somehow escaped every scandal, like, that would destroy an idol's career growing up. Like,
he has a garbage reputation internationally. He's like, people hate him.
I get it, but he's thriving in Korea. Like, he's.
But what's funny is that I see him do adverts and stuff, right? But what he's doing now is like very clearly middle-aged men targeted adverts. Like he's like the model for like a hair loss shampoo and like contact lenses and stuff.
That man is like a variety content king, and like he's on like everything. When they have like
Yeah.
a variety show, he is appearing everywhere, like all the
He also
time.
used to smoke.
Yeah.
Although now he's an anti-smoking
That's what I mean.
ambassador.
Though you'll hear some scandals that happen now, and you'll kind of hear like Heechul today would like not make it past like 1 month
But,
or
but
whatever.
even
Like,
so, like when every time he says something controversial or whatever, people do dogpile on him. But he's strongly rooted enough in the industry that it doesn't affect
because
him
he's
too
kind
bad.
of like a legend at this point. I
Yeah,
mean, any Super Junior member at this point is kind of pretty big to take down.
yeah, yeah. Um, Stream Railworks come back incidentally. Nice song. But yeah, so it's unfortunate, but you can see why it happens. And obviously, there's some stuff where a member should be cut that there's no beating around the bush. And this happened with Suju with Kangin, and it happened recently with DKB, who of course are Brave Entertainment's boy group. As member Teo was caught with a DUI and was
Yeah,
promptly
that's
kicked,
that's
which is
instant. Like you're
there's
obviously
no
done when that
yeah,
happens. Yeah.
there's no dodging that one. It sucks because they're literally like having a comeback like imminently. It was like just a matter of weeks before, and he got booted.
I feel like it's kind of amazing to me because I feel like Korea is like one country I could easily never drive
Right.
and drink. So I almost don't understand how you find yourself in a DUI situation.
I think it's because it might be something to do with like they have like curfew and they're breaking curfew to go out drinking or whatever, and they can't for whatever reason they don't want to they kind of have the money, or the company will track their card payments or whatever, and they'll see them pay for a taxi or something like that, and they'll be like, why were you paying for a taxi at 3 a.m? Like, what, you broke
It's not as
curfew?
bad as why were you having a DUI at 3 in the morning?
I can't profess to try and understand like exactly the rationale, but they have, when you're drunk, you're like, my company can't catch me drunk. I'll just drive home and park my car.
I'll just DUI on the way.
I don't know. Idols get up to some weird stuff in their own time. So
it's or like have a sober friend drive you or something.
Having a friend isn't easy for an idol. But
no, I get it. But I feel like maybe if they're in the group and they know each other well enough, you'd be like, "Yo, I'm doing this tonight. Yeah, drive me around or whatever, so we don't get in trouble or whatever."
Yeah.
Rather than me drunk driving home.
So it sucks. But yeah, Teo, you're a silly boy, and hopefully you learn from that.
Yeah.
There's another thing I wanted to say, but I've forgotten what it was. Oh yeah, so then there's also situations where a company genuinely does want what's best for its team, but through being bad at CEOing, it causes some problems. So Mimir Rose, who are the only group under Yes I'm Entertainment, which is run by Im San-jung, who is a trot legend in Korea, like one of the biggest trot singers ever. Like the kind of guy where you put his song on and every person over 50 is standing up.
Just gets up and starts.
So I mean, this dude, like, he was really passionate about making a group, right? And he sold the rights to 160 of his songs, including his most successful songs, so he doesn't get any royalties or anything from them anymore. He sold some of his land and stuff just to finance this group. He built, and I saw it in this documentary. It was like this state of the art building. It's like he's got this huge like practice area, like relaxation areas, like games and stuff. Like he clearly treated them really well, but he fell victim to a market manipulation scam and lost like $4 million.
Oh.
And that was just like all of the capital that he had. And obviously then it meant that their comeback was delayed, and eventually they did release their last comeback, as you know, and it was pretty good. But because they're a small group, it didn't exactly become a commercial mega hit. And he was clearly just like, the girls were like, "Yo, this is not working out, and he was clearly like to them, we don't have any money to finance future stuff unless we can secure other investment. So they just kind of mutually agreed to part ways, and the group as a whole will be looking for a new company together, which is cool. I hope someone obviously can pick them up because they're talented girls and they have some good songs.
Also, like,
And
all together, they're looking for a new company.
I really hope for him that he's able to pull through and get some investment and stuff, and not just kind of be saddled with a load of debt with nothing to pay it off, because it's not fair. He was an idiot in falling for a scam like that, but his intentions were very good. And I don't think there's no bad blood between the members and him at all.
To give them a good place to grow from versus having like a crappy beginning where you're like in a bad dorm, a bad everything.
In a way, it's like the risk that can be taken if you do have like a very wealthy CEO who gives you everything you want at the start, and then it doesn't work out and you just end up in this financial hole. So that really sucks. But yeah, I hope that works out for both of them, obviously.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
Yeah, and then we also had Pink Fantasy sort of coming to a close. It's kind of a bit of a sort of up in the air situation where the companies, none of the members left the company, but instead they had some of the members graduate from the group, so they won't, and they have other interests, either going acting or business or whatever it might be. Yetan is on Sing Again right now, and she's doing quite well, which is cool. And then some of the members want to continue as idols instead, so they might have like a kind of unit type deal. But either way, the whole group won't be seen together again.
Yeah, because they were like doing stuff in Japan at one point or something, separately or something, right?
Yeah, they have a lot of kind of weird things that they're doing. But yeah, it's a shame that, especially that we didn't get like another kind of full release from them. But kind of best of luck to all of them is all you can really say, right?
Yeah, I feel bad because like their concept was really interesting and stuff, and I felt like they stood out. I guess it just didn't grow popular enough to sustain, to like self-sustain itself.
Yeah, so I hope the members can find successes individually, or
it kind of makes you realize sometimes how successful Dreamcatcher is.
Right. And how much of a kind of rarity.
Yeah, how rare that is, like, to be kind of that, like, niche, really popular group in K-pop or whatever.
Yeah,
like...
and not only, like, to be able to do it for a couple of years, but to have, longevity. I mean, we're talking on the day of the release of their latest comeback, right? So it's fitting. But yeah, they're a prime example, especially, and they're a good example of what we were talking about earlier about, like, conceptual consistency, right? Like they've worked with the same producers and most of the same team for like a really, really long time. So they've had that that consistency, and it's shown that with pretty steady growth.
They never gave up on like the sound or anything. They didn't try to morph themselves to some other version.
Even though they've shown some experimentation, but they've remain pretty faithful to their concept and their roots, which definitely has its strengths, as we've seen.
I think that's helped them the most, because I think if they had tried to be like, oh, let's do what that group's doing or something, they would have tarnished kind of what has made them successful.
Yeah, there aren't many other groups that you can think of, especially for girls. It's like them, I guess Stacy, and for boys for 80s would be the ones I can think of that have built really big, popular fan bases.
Yeah, 80s is interesting because I feel like they do kind of fall in line with the sound of a lot of the 4th gen.
Yeah,
boy groups or something versus versus like Dreamcatcher really standing out on their own soundscape.
It seems very well to appeal to a market that was already there. Dreamcatcher kind of made their market. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, hopefully we can see more of that. Maybe with Kiss of Life.
Kiss of Life, in my opinion, has had great releases back to back. Like I feel like they do stand out as their own thing right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's much more of a mature vibe because of the members being adults when they debuted, you know?
Mostly.
Mostly.
Just,
Well, like, I feel like the one that is not does not
well,
get pushed in the same way.
Hannah's 18 now, so she is an adult.
But I feel like she doesn't get
No, she
used
doesn't.
like in the same way in the videos. They don't like have her used in the same
She's
way
not
in the
suited.
music videos
Yeah.
or something, you know. Not like Natty like abrasively destroying my mind when there's like
Mind, body, and soul. Yeah.
but yeah, Kiss of Life I hope does grow massively because I feel like they deserve it with the quality of song, video, choreo, everything has been great.
And a consistent concept as well, right? Like even like thematic links between the music videos and stuff. That
they have
cool.
not like branched away from what their sound is. Yeah,
no. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
I guess over to. Well, let's do some enlistment stuff real quick.
Enlistments, yeah. Enlistment list.
So we had so Hyung Won from Monster X has gone in. So he's the last member of Monster X to enlist. So good luck to him, obviously. I'm terrified because he was already hitting the gym a lot before he went in, so he's going to come out as this just behemoth of a man. Like I'm frightened about it.
All the X members are like super
getting jacked.
Like,
yeah. Very, very scary.
And then you have Ju Honey. It's so funny.
I mean, he's got something going on.
No, I know. It just looks like sometimes he's standing next to like Mr. Universe or something, Like...
Yeah, definitely. And today it was announced that the remaining members of BTS are going in simultaneously.
Four, right?
So yeah, RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook are all going in. But
they'll be back. I think it's 2025.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So very interesting, especially for Jungkook. Obviously, Jungkook is out here breaking records. He beat Psy's record for the most songs or the highest placement on the Billboard Hot 100 or something like that. So he's obviously doing a great job, and I think people were saying, Jungkook, like your song is popping off in the US. Like Seven is doing crazy good, from what I understand. You should go and promote it, do a tour, whatever. And he was like, I ain't ready to go on a tour by myself. Like he did some promotions in America, but he's like, I can't do all of this.
He was on Jimmy Fallon. That's what like K-pop promotions
the classic,
end up being.
The classic,
like...
going on Jimmy Fallon, or since James Corden's not around anymore, thank God. But yeah, and he was like, nah, I'm just gonna go and let's buy. So
good for him. I feel like that's good for the group as a whole. Like,
yeah,
because they'll have like the big K-pop. Like we're all back kind of thing.
Right,
it's gonna be late or something. It would have been like we're back, but Jungkook's in the military or something.
But we're back, and Jungkook's like having a world successful tour. He's like, well, I guess I'll go in now. Okay, bye. Like, it would have been a bit awkward. So, yeah, cool. So we'll see them in 2025. And then I guess we can go over to YG for some YG based stuff. So let's do former YG first.
If I know correctly, it's Baby Monster just lost a member already, right? And they haven't even debuted.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start with that then. So we were talking about this before when we were saying about Baby Monster stuff. It seemed like Aeon had kind of disappeared and she wasn't seen. The other six were out doing stuff. They went to the Blackpink show together and stuff, and then Aeon was just nowhere to be seen. She wasn't posting, and everyone was like, what's going on? And it was confirmed by YG that due to her health issues and whatnot, she will not be debuting with the group. However, they didn't say, as was initially reported, it was initially reported that she left the group and she left YG, but that was quickly dispelled. And YG said, no, she's still with us and she's still going to be a member of Baby Monster, but she's not going to join them for their debut. So at some point in the future, she will join the rest of the group. That's the current line. Obviously, that's subject to change.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to happen. We'll see, though. I mean, I guess it's plausible.
Right? So, yeah, given that from what I understand, I don't know the members at all.
I don't either.
From what I understand, she's kind of like the ace. Like she's certainly like the one who has the best voice
It'd be
and
like
stuff.
before Blackpink debuting, they're just like, "Yo, I think Jenny's just not gonna be in this group or something,"
Yeah,
you know, like
it's
kind of thing. Like,
essentially.
yeah.
And people think that the reasons might be to do with some um, previous controversy that happened of the classic YG thing of having a member do a song cover and not censor the N word, which happened to Julie as well. But Julie apologized, blah blah blah. But anyway, um, they maybe it's to do with that, maybe it's other stuff, maybe it's a combination.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, she's not going to be joining, so that's put a bit of a damper on them. I'm not sure it'll matter to their popularity at all. Really.
I think anyone who thinks that group isn't going to be massively huge is just sleeping with their head in the sand or whatever, because it's like there's no way.
Or they're just very desperate to have an underdog story or whatever, but it's like no, they're going to go straight to the top.
It's especially when you see like someone posted in the Discord like the Beautiful Faces top 100 or whatever, and there were already members up in the top 5 or something like that. Like
for no reason and just go nuts. Yeah. So they'll do fine. I'm curious to see what their music's going to sound like, and that's going to determine how invested I'm going to be.
Yeah, I hope it's.
I hope it's not Blackpink 2.0.
It is though, like probably very likely. Yeah. Like I just don't see. I've never seen YG do something else.
Although,
like
I think their track list dropped. I think, and Teddy wasn't on there.
Interesting.
So that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if that necessarily means it's going to sound different, but at least it means that it, they've got a fresh
kind of producer behind all of it and everything. Okay, that might be interesting.
So we'll see.
It might also be bad because Teddy is obviously like what has made so many successful YG.
Unless I'm remembering wrong, and I was thinking of a different track list, which is possible. My brain is addled these days, but I'm fairly sure I know.
Teddy is so important to like the YG formula. I feel like.
Yeah, but it does seem like he's really been working on establishing the Black label as a separate
his own thing. Yeah.
Thing and wanting to do more distinct stuff. I mean, it's impossible to separate. I mean,
make him CEO after all the like kind of criminal like scandal stuff. Yeah,
I don't know if Teddy wants to be CEO of YG.
Well, like I guess so. Maybe he doesn't want that. But I'm just kind of surprised it wasn't thrown out there after maybe everything that occurred.
But I'm surprised Jenny isn't CEO at this point. But
do better job.
So YG himself, incidentally, is facing prison again.
Yeah, so, of course.
As
happens.
That's exactly what you want before you step into the public realm as an idol, is that your boss is going to jail. Mm-hmm. But somehow YG keeps plodding on. So the Blackpink thing, we'll probably get more news on this. We'll just touch on it briefly. But the current understanding is that the members have agreed to continue as Blackpink, but separate from YG, which I think is kind of what we were all expecting. YG immediately came out and said, no, we're still discussing, but we're like, I mean, the other day Cube came out and we're like, no, we're still discussing, and then with B2B, and then B2B were like, no, we're done, and all left. So I think it's one of those things where YG is just wanting to finalize everything before they make a statement. But either way, I think people can be kind of happy with that the members agreed that there will be some form of Blackpink continuing, and that the members will just have their own.
Yeah, I'm just so interested to see how it works, because I feel like YG could probably be a very spiteful company, I imagine. Probably. If it goes sideways or something, like.
I imagine in practice it's not going to look all that different, because it's not like Blackpink were together doing stuff together all that often, except when they were touring anyway. Right?
No, they're always at like a different fashion event.
Yeah, so I imagine it'll be like that. Just get together
like
every now and then.
Rosé's like permanently
in Paris,
traveling into fashion events or whatever.
I think I just found out that recently that Rosé literally just owns a house in Paris now.
Makes sense. I see like
lives there a lot.
Yves Saint Laurent like promotion constantly of her like in a different country and stuff. So it's like, which fair enough. Like keep doing it. I'm sure you're making like mega bucks doing that stuff. Yeah. Like,
although for Lisa there was some issues in that regard, where on Weibo the Chinese like mega
because of the crazy horse thing.
Seemingly. result of that, a bunch of brands dropped her from their page, but it was like specifically in China. So I'm not sure if there was some particular thing that went down there. Nothing was said about it, and we saw people from those companies showing support for her publicly. So
I feel like Lisa's
I'm not
been
gonna.
doing the hot girl thing for so long now. Like, I don't know who is
It
getting.
was never said that that was the reason, though, so we can only speculate.
Yeah.
But
Well, so like
whatever it
she
is.
came out and did like an anti Xi comment or something. You know, like I don't know.
Maybe because Lisa has appeared on Chinese state media before, that maybe she had some or some unknown understanding with them that she wasn't to do something that she didn't, that she broke, whether it
Yeah.
was with the radio thing or with something else. We won't, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
But either way, it somewhat damaged her
I don't
brand,
think
at least
any
under there.
thing's gonna damage her like.
But I mean, compared to how she is worldwide, apart
Yeah.
from China, like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, her Instagram
What is
has like
what is
insane amount of followers or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like 90 million or something like that. It's
Yeah, so it's like almost a tenth of the population of China.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, it is what it is. And then I guess the other thing is former YG now, which was hilarious because so when GD went in, he went in for drug testing as a kind of connection to that wider scandal that happened. Where
Oh yes,
like,
this is the G Dragon thing, right? Yeah, yeah.
a bunch of actors, or a big actor, was found to have been going to this, like they call it like a 1%er club, at this bar in Gangnam. You get like a 7,000 a night, a table, a bottle kind of deal. Like it's like a lot, right?
Yeah.
You pay like tens of thousands for an escort.
It's one of those places, you know. It's just like, yeah.
And apparently, it's this particular place was known for a place where people would go and do drugs. And seemingly the owner of the establishment itself called G Dragon out as being someone who visited it and supposedly left a suspicious packet in the bathroom.
Why
so
is
GD
the owner of the okay? That's what.
Maybe the police were like, yeah, if you rat people out, we'll give you a lighter term.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know how it goes. So GD goes in for testing and questioning. It's quite funny. He looked super friendly and talkative and chatting to everyone and stuff. So he went in. He had 4 hours of questioning. He did hair tests and stuff, and urine test obviously went out and was found everything was negative. Then someone in the police accused him of entirely shaving his body hair, not his head hair, mind you, just his body hair. Which, pro tip, would not make a difference at all.
If you do the urine test and everything else, and like it doesn't matter if you shaved your hair.
Well, urine has a drug will stay in your hair for longer than it will.
No, I get it, but they could still.
If it's in your hair and your head, it doesn't matter where on the body it is. Yeah. So GD was like, actually, I usually shave my body hair, but because I knew I was going to go into this, I deliberately didn't because of that. And so we had this like lawyer back and forth talking about GD's body hair, which is just hilarious.
Yeah.
And I wish it had resulted in a picture of either this like completely nude and hairless GD or a very like hirsute nude GD. I would have taken either. But either way, he went in again and he got nail testing, which is like the most extensive test you can get, and that was also found negative. So GD is essentially completely clear. So you know, good for him. But that whole thing is, and what was funny about that is, as soon as he went in, someone approached YG and asked them for comment, and he was like, "Well," they were like, "Well, he's not our artist. We're not going to comment."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, YG, all right, geez." Guess that's that.
Let's just get rid of the years of history of G Dragon carrying up this company in Big Bang.
So that happened. But I mean, ultimately, it's the story is kind of done. Like he was completely cleared. So well done, GD. Stay clean.
That kind of YG behavior is what makes me not super positive about the Blackpink contract situation because they're very like sassy when it comes to like anything that isn't under their umbrella or whatever.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
let's say Lisa or someone signs like Republic or something in the US, then they'll probably be like, "Well, Lisa's not an artist of ours, you know, so we don't know what Lisa's doing."
She can do whatever she wants, the pole dancing
Yeah.
whore.
They wouldn't be far off from making a comment like that or something, you know what I mean? They would do it in like a obscure way.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much it. I guess those are the major topics, unless I'm
Yeah. I
forgetting
guess if there's kind
anything.
of one last thing to cover, I'm not sure we are going to.
There was the hilarious thing of did you see this of Stacy? They're in the US,
Oh
right?
yeah, the Rangers.
The Rangers.
Outfits.
Oh
Yeah, they
my
wore
God.
the Scotland Rangers, right?
Yes,
For
they wore
yeah.
the kid of the Glasgow Rangers, the football team in Scotland, to the US. Is it the Texas Rangers?
Yeah, there's the Texas Rangers like baseball team, I think, or hockey team or something like.
You're the one who's supposed to know this. You're the American.
Yeah, but I don't follow most American sports. I watch real football.
And what was funny is that they weren't just like a modern. They didn't just someone just search like Rangers kit and bought them whatever came up. It was like they were wearing this like vintage kit from like the 90s, and it was like sponsored by like a local Scottish lager or something. It was like real old school.
It's the Glasgow Rangers, right?
Glasgow Rangers, yeah. Like one of the two biggest. Them and Celtic are the two biggest teams in Scotland. And what was hilarious is that the Rangers were like, "Well, hey, we'll take the free publicity. Your girls are coming to London to do a show in London. You want to come up and make a quick detour to Glasgow?" So Stacy were like, "Hell yeah, brother!" So they went to Scotland, and like an unbelievable crowd turned up. I was thinking no one would give a shit, but as it turns out, Stacy going down in Scotland too, because they had a good old crowd turn up, and I think the Glasgow people in Scotland were like, "Oh, what the hell's going on here? I don't know what you're doing. What's Korea?" And they were like blown away by this, like the publicity of this.
That's so dope though that they turned up and like drove.
And they were
Glasgow like Rangers fans are like, fuck it, they wore our jerseys.
Yeah. And they didn't perform, I don't think, or anything. They just kind of went there and said hello and took some pictures and then left. But really cool, just like a really nice touch.
Just have like a massive performance in like their stadium or
in the
Ibrox.
Ibrox.
Yeah. Just like a bunch of the drunk Glasgow fans.
It would be pretty funny, but. It did end up taking, I think, all of the doing so much in such a short space of time did kind of take its toll. It's meant that Yoon and Isa had to take a step away for a week or two to kind of recover and stuff. We've had a couple of injuries and stuff lately. We obviously had Leah going out.
Yeah, she's gonna be gone for a while.
She's at least until January. She's gonna miss their tour and stuff due to an anxiety disorder as well. Really initially, she went in with physical issues, and then they kind of said that it's also mental issues.
All the crap people want to give JYP sometimes. Again, I don't always mean to sing his praises, but
we love JYP.
We love JYP. But look at like anytime there's kind of been like a major health thing, he has
always meant to give them time
take
off.
Like very extended time off or whatever for their health and stuff. Whereas I feel like some companies would be like kind of nudging you, like, why don't you get back in there, you know?
Hurry up, and deal with it. Especially for a psychological condition. Like for a physical one, there's only so much you can do, right? But for a psychological one, it's like, well, get a grip and go to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a shame obviously for her that she's going to miss that tour and stuff, especially given that she's like the westerny one, right? And that she was raised in Canada, has family in Canada.
Her
and
voice
stuff,
too really stands out in their group too. It's like her parts are kind of hard to just pass off.
So obviously, ITZY obviously will have to reorganize this for a time.
So Yeji's just doing a lot more high notes than normal.
Probably, yeah. So I hope obviously that she is able to come back and she doesn't end up kind of concluding that maybe it's best if she stays away permanently.
I don't think that'll happen. I feel like ITZY's so tight knit as a group.
Yeah. We also had some some injuries in Nuguville. So poor old Chloe, your girl Chloe, in what sounds like a comical situation, she tripped and fell in the dorm and fractured an ankle.
Oh.
Or damaged her ankle in some way.
That
So
is
she appeared with the group. They got an award, hilariously, the other day, and she was there but sitting down, so she
that's
couldn't dance
unfortunate. She's
stuff.
gonna
So
be
it had
kind of like that member from ATEEZ for a bit. You're like sitting in the
yeah,
corner of the stage
which,
singing while everyone's dancing.
which is fine. You know, if they can do that, and it's not too much discomfort for her to have to walk around and stuff. I'll see her in. I saw her the day or the night it happened beforehand, and I'll see her in 2 weeks. I'll have a chat and see if she's all right. And also Boney from Dream Note, other Dream.
Mm-hmm.
Boney from Dream Note, the short haired queen that you like. She she apparently tripped and fell during choreography practice. Initially, it said that she fractured her jaw, but it turned out that's not true, and she actually fractured her coccyx, which, if anything, is worse.
Yeah,
because anyone who's had an injury to their coccyx would know that really hurts. That's your tailbone.
Why this 2 tripping incidents in the same month or whatever? Like,
well, yeah. So I've seen what Signature's dorm is like, and it's a hellscape on the ground there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what choreo that Dream Note are preparing that led to her smashing her tailbone that hard, but she's going to be out for a good few months, unfortunately.
That's really unfortunate. So,
yeah.
And especially for any new group, it's like even worse.
Yeah. It was said that they're preparing for a comeback. So I hope that it won't mean that she's going to miss it, or that it's going to be pushed. I think it's better for them to push it back and wait.
Yeah, I would push it. If they push it back, it's better.
Yeah, obviously, but either way, that sucks. So, best wishes to the both of them.
I suppose, is there any way for us to end on a lighter note, or is that how we're?
What are some positive things we can talk about that have happened lately that you can think of?
I will say, let's go with Winter just absolutely slaying it with the red hair. I don't know if anyone's seen the Espa comeback, but my God, I'm hanging on the edge of my seat every time that there's an Espa performance recently. But also, best thing ever happened. There was a Red Velvet killing voice. I almost said Red Velvet, like Lito Red Velvet. Red Velvet killing voice is, I don't know if you've watched it yet, but is
no,
10 out of 10.
I saw a little bit of it.
And anyone who has not seen that yet, that is hands down the best killing
everything
voice in my opinion. It was everything I ever wanted. Yes, that's my positive note.
I guess I'm positive that Red Velvet is still here. There were rumors of them disbanding and not extending whatever.
Contracts, but she seems so much still a part of like everything. So.
I mean, we had I mentioned Jungkook's record breaking as well. Stray Kids are going to be the second group to enter Billboard's. Is it 100?
Yeah, they had a dope release. The la, 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 la.
I didn't like it very much personally, but it's great
style.
that they're blowing up. And they're going to be the only group apart from BTS who've hit that milestone. So that's obviously fantastic for them, because a lot of groups have hit second on the Billboard 200, I think, but only BTS have hit first. And Psy. But what else? Zero Base One have become the first group in history to have 2 1 million selling albums in their first year.
Yeah, they had both their releases are really good.
Really good. The most recent
that drum one we checked out last night was like with the crazy drum chorus was like
gosh, yeah. I think that whole album is really, really good. So yeah, very
I'm
impressed.
glad. You never know with those produced type of groups what's gonna happen. But they've had like really solid like sound every time they've come out with something.
And IVE became the first group to have 3 songs with perfect all kills in the same year. The only other artist who's done that is IU. So, fair play IVE.
IVE just doing IVE things, like what, just being standard queens of the industry at the moment, And,
something that was cute. I didn't know this, but so Bang Yedam, the member who left Treasure, so he's having his solo comeback. He's like a self-writing, producing guy, right? So he's having his own solo like full release. But what I didn't realize is that the show that Akmu blew up on, the one that got them signed to YG and everything, he was there too. So there's this like adorable footage of a very awkward, greasy, long-haired Bang Yedam with like baby Akmu on this show. And then the show that Akmu hosts now.
Yeah.
He guested on there, and they were like, it was like a cute kind of reunion thing for them. And he had written this song directed to Chan Hyuk, telling him to take good care of Seehyun and not be mean to her. And it was called like "Take Care of Nuna" or something like that. Take care of
Nuna. Oh, because she is the older sibling. Huh?
She's like in like excruciating and like cringe while it's happening. And the lyrics are really funny. Stuff like he's like, "We all know that she's the one who carries the vocals," and stuff like that. And like the crowd's cracking up, and Channings's just sat there like, just taking it the whole time. So that was fun. Good stuff. Positive notes.
Positive notes of Akmu's always a positive note. How can you not be positive with Akmu?
For sure.
Sorry for you guys hearing bump 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 from my phone towards the end here.
Didn't get anything.
This has been the K-pop podcast.
Stan JYP. I'm Oliver.
Stan JYP. JYP. Oh shit.
Oh. That's
I'm leaving it. Perfect.
Yeah, that's bye bye.